Hi, YouTube. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing pretty good. I was thinking about people that play games with other people when other people aren't playing games and they want to involve them in a back and forth exchange of like who did what or whatever. Is there any type of divine intervention on those type of things? And I can't say definitively whether there is or not, but what I can say from observing most of that type of action of people, say people that have tried to do things to me and it didn't work out for them how they wanted it to work out, either because I took different steps and different measures in my life to protect myself from those types of things because I know what people are capable of and why they would want to do those things, especially if I'm dealing with a man. If I'm dealing with a man um, that wants to cause me harm in any way, um, things are just set in place in my life, like lined up as a mode of protection. It's not, and I actually see things happening that they're capable of. They can go other ways, whether or not these people act on any opportunity they're given, or if they take the time to have an understanding of other human beings with just not automatically jumping on their assumptions or balling all of us into like one category, that type of thing. I was thinking about with the Christian religion, and I think about this a lot, and how demeaning it is to women to teach your daughters and your little girls that the matriarch of all humanity had done something against their families that would hurt them. That's just not true. They're assuming that the first male or female didn't have any type of intellect or anything, um, like no scientific knowledge or anything. They were just uh, although they were masterminds, supposedly masterminds of gardening and capable of things like that, people assume that these were like troglodytes, cavemen type. And that just doesn't sit with my logic that God made people at the same time and didn't give them any clothes to wear, that type of thing that has been instilled in people's brains, like, and then it all comes down on Adam's head because he was the patriarch of the situation in um control of all the animals and Eve, the matriarch. And so his lack of discernment and judgment in those times, it all falls on his head. But the woman is still demeaned for any forbidden fruit, which sounds to me like the man had different choices in females that he could procreate with and was told not to touch a certain demographic of people and was forbidden to procreate with those people because of the sicknesses that it would put into our gene pool, you know. And that is precisely what happened. It was called incest and rape, and neither Adam or Eve had anything to do with that. It's actually all a part of the plan. and nobody did anything to anybody that wasn't supposed to happen. That's my thoughts on that. And there's actually biological and genome proof. I'm just listening right now to a channel called Old Boy, and he's talking about proof in genetics. Who were the Etruscans, according to DNA analysis and how they tracked down like Mediterranean, European influences, Arabian, Middle Eastern, German, and Roman, and all these types of influences on each other's cultures and maybe languages, and definitely within procreation, So I don't know, just some things that are on my mind today. Cheers, everybody. I really never, ever set out ahead of time to divert or control or attack anybody. I don't sit here and plan shit like a lot of other people are gonna do, like, oh wow, how am I gonna get to this person and um um cause a reaction that's going to make me feel like I'm in control. I don't care about any of that shit like that, you know. So if things fall into place for me because of the way other people are acting, I consider that divine intervention and retribution on my behalf, because I feel as though I'm walking life the correct way without trying to manipulate other people in any way. It's just not my thing. I don't care to do it, you know? So, anyway. And I know there's people that might think other words because I'm so strong in um my life, what I allow and what I don't allow in my life has given other people the opportunity to pass judgment on me, which I really don't care. I don't mind it either. If you can't assess a person, you're already stifled on your abilities of what's acceptable in society and what isn't. We have the ability to make an assessment on other people's judgment calls, on other people's personalities, aspects of people's personalities that could be a benefit or a danger to us in our lives. And um, if people want to say that's judgment, well, yes, I'm assessing my situation, not anybody else's. What's acceptable in my life might not be acceptable in yours. It's like my temper. I do not have anger management issues, but if I snap, I've had enough and I need to release that energy. And that's occasionally what I will do, and make no apologies for it at all. I just won't. If I get to the point where I feel you stepped on my toes and you said you were a graceful dancer, the dance has ended and you'll be dancing by yourself, because I don't play that game. So, anyway. But I do see things ahead of time for myself, and I make moves in my life for myself, not anybody else. I'm not worried about what somebody is doing in their life. I could say a prayer for people. I mean, as far as wishing people the best in life, I don't go out of my way to wish a person harm. I have, however, asked the Spirit of God if He could take time to show somebody something that they might not be aware of. And spiritually, I might get the answer like, you do something about it or say something. Well, then I feel obligated to express what I'm feeling at that time and what brought me to that point. And like I said, once again, I'll never make apologies for somebody that pushes me to my tipping point when I have more patience than anybody I've ever met. When I get to that point, no apologies ever for that. I I refuse because that's how stable I am in my life and for everybody else. When there's been times like uh, chaos and like fights and different things, I've equalized situations that could have become rather dangerous where other people weren't willing to step in that situation because they freak. They don't have a level head in a crisis, you know. It's like an emergency room operation. Who is capable of taking care of a really bloody situation and plugging up the holes when other people are screaming and crying? Who's got a level mind? Who's going to go into a tumultuous situation and take care of things with a steady, stable mind? That would be me. And I've seen it over and over again where big men, yeah, I'm picking on you a little bit today. It might not be you personally, but it could be. Feel as though because of their strength or because of their position in society that they have it over the mind or the heart or the soul of a female in areas they do not excel. It's not their gifts, you know. So, yeah, like I say, just some things that are on my mind today. So, and people that know me really well know. Um, They either know two things. They either know how to push my buttons and enjoy pushing those buttons, or they know how to push my buttons and don't enjoy any added upset to somebody that could be a benefit to them and a loyal friend that doesn't ever betray people. You know, they have to decide what they value in their lives before they even approach me because I don't play the typical games people play. And in that extent, that's where people lose themselves. When you betray another person, you've betrayed yourself. It's really true, too. So, and I don't give a shit if they sleep well at night or not. I might ask God to make sure you don't. I saw a meme, and this is true. Some of you might have seen it too before. Whereas, if you can't sleep at night, maybe that's God's way of trying to talk to you. You know, I think that could be. I think they're on to something. You know, I've had a lot of injuries in my life and health situations that made it where I couldn't sleep. But, even within that pain and turmoil and things personally, um, working with other people and keeping their feelings guarded from my turmoil, you would have no clue on the average day. You just wouldn't unless I let that be known. So, but I have opened up to some people and I have gotten shunned and totally betrayed for being the warrior I am and the protector that I am for um, even the dark force against itself, trying to stop stupid before they become beyond idiotic. I try. That's all I can do. But when people don't value my honesty, my integrity, the virtues, my intelligence, when that's all overlooked, excuse me, ooh, I almost spilt my coffee. I hold issue with that big time because my work isn't your work. You don't make my world go round. Get your own. Work on your own projects, foresee your own future, and develop that in your life. Don't worry about what somebody else is doing or what they can do for you. Do it for yourself. If you can't see into the future for yourself, you can't expect somebody else to. That only comes with self assurance and having a close connection with God. If there's parts of that missing in you, you'll never get it out of somebody else. Like somebody saying that you want to win the lottery. That's about the dumbest shit I've heard in my life. It's like me, I was a dealer. I didn't play blackjack on the other side of the table. I'm not stupid. We only did that in after we got approved of our training when we got our certificate to become a dealer. Um, we played against the house, not being the house, but played against the house one time just to see what that would feel like after our training. But as far as going in ahead of time and knowing the odds are like entirely against you, wouldn't you rather be the house? Wouldn't you rather be the dealer? If you know you're going to win, you might as well be dealing the hands. But you could be a good dealer. You could tell the people, hey, I'm like really, my table's hot tonight. You might want to move over there because you're just not going to win here. That type of attitude. So, like I say, I'm the dealer. The, um, I'm not patronizing my own table. I'm dealing those cards so somebody else can lose. No, no, but it's true. That's exactly what happened. The odds in a casino are over 10,000 to 1 that you're going to lose. And the odds in my book, messing with me and trying to manipulate or alter or any of that, the odds are way more than 10,000 to 1. It's 1 here, 0 over there. With your poor intent, you'll never get ahead. Never. I'm already ahead. So, and that's the way I operate in my life. I don't ever make plans for another person's demise in any way. So when people get on there and they're like, they're in the poor me's, they're in the crabbies, they're in the, don't really have much to say. There's not a lot of depth to who they are. They're not social beings. They don't really interact on a normal human level. It's a emptiness. There's a lot of that going on in the world. I saw a meme. In fact, I'm going to pull it up and read it to you. Um, it's the first thing I saw, second thing I saw this morning. In a moment here. Okay. This, um, I've worked with I've worked in fields where, like, the construction, being a contractor isn't typically, it didn't used to typically be um, a woman-owned business. And within that, and working with men, you either work well together or you don't. You see the value in each other or you don't. And but it isn't anything new where there would be opposition in that area. And I saw this morning a whole generation worked to empower women, but forgot to teach men how to live with empowered women. That's not true. I put, people haven't changed. Their agenda is to make you think we don't work well together. It's called conditioning, just like this quote. So let's see, what else do we have? Oh, here's one about it, abortion. Women have the right to control their own bodies. And it's a little Peanuts Charles Schultz comic. And Lioness is next to Lucy, and he said, if you controlled them, you wouldn't need abortions. And one of my friends wrote, you play stupid to blend in with them, but they know you're playing. Here's a quote, be careful with your words. They can only be forgiven, not forgotten. That's true, too. That goes for me, too, and I wouldn't say anything. If I said something cruel to somebody and that would take them being cruel to me first, I'm done then. I already don't care. If, like, say, if I'm mad enough to say that I want to chop your head off, I'm already done with thinking anybody's going to be loyal. I've already etherically removed it. Um, so I learned long ago that in order to heal my wounds, I must have the courage to face up with them. It's true. Let's see what else is on Facebook meme world today. And nothing too much. Just a bunch of kids going to school in the snow, and it says, if you grew up going to school like this, say yep. Yeah, Minnesota. Mm, so true. People can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. That is true. You might see areas in people that they don't see themselves, and you can believe this or not, but you're not going to find something in me that I don't see myself. Horses forgive, but they never forget. Humans forget, but they hardly ever forgive. Well, horses don't forget, and they don't always forgive. And the same with people. I can't give that a like because it's really not true. Yeah, don't become captivated by captivity. There is no beauty in stolen freedom. This is sort of true. Between what is said and not meant, and what is meant and not said, most of love is lost. That is true. That's why I'm out here talking so people don't lose that connection with humanity like they want you to. Hurting someone and expecting them to move on like nothing happened is emotional abuse. Bam. Yeah, this is true. You can't fix a society that has been entirely waxed gross. You can only protect yourself from it. That's so true. I have some really intelligent friends. Somebody here wrote, I'm wondering if I am trapped inside a haunted house that my cousin took me to 28 years ago on Halloween. You and me, both. Ooh, damn. This could be for a lot of people. So many kids grew up thinking they had a deadbeat dad when the whole time they actually had a very bitter mother. Oh, that's true. That's why, I mean, some people might think it's tacky, could care less. But after I kicked the father of my children out of the house, he punched my oldest son in his head, and my child hit the ground. And I actually wanted to commit murder at that point. I needed to distance myself and my children from ongoing abuse. But when it got to that point, it's like, okay, that's way enough. This isn't just hollering or acting mentally ill. This is physical damage to another human being. So then I took measures to not become bitter, but I actually, not with my children around, but I had a divorce party. I celebrated my divorce as a way of re entering society on my own with no regrets. So, because the minute I had a child, I knew right then and there that I am responsible for this human being, not anybody else. They can help, but this child came out of my body and expects me to care for it until it can care for itself. And so that's the way I approached the whole situation. It's like, well, they need me, whether they have stability somewhere else. I can't depend on that for them. I have to provide that for them. And I took steps to do just that. So, well, I'm going to get this uploaded. I just wanted to talk about the fact that I don't ever sit and calculate how I'm going to hurt somebody. I can sit and think and reminisce, how can I reach another human being? And it might not be your typical ways of doing that, because I'm far from typical like that. But like I've said before, people either love me for who I am and can see the depth of my heart and the true honesty and love and my virtues in there, or they can't. And if they can't, it makes me wonder really who they are and what they're all about. Now, that I might investigate a little bit, and I could toy and torture somebody in subtle ways, but it's really not pre-planned. It's just a way of expressing the pain that I have gotten put on me, and it's a release for me in those areas. But here's a for instance. Um, if, say, Doug were a jerk to me, so if he were mean to me, like in the morning, I'm not going to get on here and be mean to you because of something he did. I'm going to confront that with him before I come out here and deal with pleasantries or non pleasantries with anybody else. I do things directly, always. So, all right, everybody, I really appreciate you being here. I hope you have the most wonderful week ahead. Hope some of this might be able to help a little bit of stubbornness that people are struggling with their feeling inhibited. I mean, you feel like you can't do things, or things aren't going differently for you in your life. Try something different then. Um, like they say, if one thing isn't working, don't keep doing the same thing that isn't working. you know, try something different. That's what I excel at, is switching it up. So try switching it up and see what happens. It might be for the benefit. You never know. Scary times call for drastic measures, right? So don't be afraid. Just face it head on. Take that bull by the horns and show him that you're human. You're not just a cow in the pasture waiting for that bull to mount you. You're actually a prize cow in a stall that is being cared for extra specially, or a bull in your own pasture being cared for specially because you're worth that. So that's how it works for your benefit when people are being cruel to you. They always dig their own holes. It's a sad thing to see. And you can actually, if you are cruel, lead them into it. I really never set anybody up, but they do set themselves up, and I can see what I can say or do to either help or make it worse. I'm trying to help. If I ever start trying to make it worse, you're going to be fully aware that perhaps you should have thought things out a little deeper before you just jumped in a dirty pool with both feet. You might have wanted to test the water a little bit, or not go into the jungle without a firearm, that type of thing, like being prepared for what's going to happen if you keep doing things the wrong way. So, anyway, um, hope this helps somebody. Have a really pleasant day. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Wherever you're at,